Hey guys, we are at 2 weeks and 80 miles on the Vader 125. So I wanted to give you a quick review on it. I'm Dev and I'm living on two wheels here on YouTube. So let's talk about this bike. We bought this because we were kind of interested to see what you'd get if you bought a bike in a box from China. And would it be roadworthy? Would it be a motorcycle? Something that you could ride and with safely and reliably. So basically, we purchased this for $1,259, I believe it was, on Red Fox Power Sports, and they shipped it pretty quick. I'd say that basically the day they processed our payment, they shipped the bike. RL Carriers took them a little over a week, 2 weekends to get it over to us, so it was 10 days total. We ordered it on 7/2. We got it at the house on 7/12 of 2021. And so here it is. We've had it now for 2 weeks and 80 miles on it. And so a few things I'll just tell you about it at this point as an owner of the Vader 125, what we've done so far, what we plan to do, that kind of thing. So basically, I just want to kind of tell you a little bit about this bike, what we call the Vader 125, at least this instance of it. This bike is made by Baodiao in about 100 miles out of Shanghai in China. It's actually, I think, in the Shizan district of a city called Wuxi in a province called Jiangsu. That's where this bike is made. And, originally when we bought the bike, I was kind of thinking it's just a knockoff of a Honda Grom. I don't know what, really to expect. From watching videos on YouTube, I thought, it's probably going to fall apart. I got to immediately replace everything on it because it's going to be junk. All the bolts are going to be loose, all that stuff that you hear. I got to tell you guys, that was not really our experience. Basically, the bike was in really good shape when we got it. There's a video we have out there of kind of that day one of it rolling in on in the box and such. But the point was, this bike came pretty well assembled. And, there's a few weird things, like that peg that always wants to fall out on me. That peg right there. But the bike came pretty well assembled. We had to put the front wheel on, the handlebars, assemble the shock, all that kind of stuff. But, as far as you hear stories about there's all these loose bolts and all that kind of thing, I have yet to find a loose bolt on it, as far as one that we weren't supposed to bolt, like something they were supposed to tighten. So I got to say, the manufacturing quality of what we received here was actually pretty good. And so we assembled it in a couple of hours, got it all running, and basically put gas in it, and it started. And so day one, the bike actually, came, it worked, and we were relatively pleased. Now, a couple of things that we had to do right away. We had to replace the front sprocket. I say had, you don't have to, but it comes with a 14-tooth front sprocket, and of course you can't see the front sprocket right now, but you just pop off that plate right there and put on, loosen up your back quill, put on that 17-tooth sprocket you get on Amazon. Look in the description. I'll put a link to where I bought it on Amazon, but that's probably the most important thing you can do to this motorcycle is to put a 17-tooth front sprocket on it, because otherwise first gear is so short, it's horribly short, It's even short with a 17 on it, but all the gears are longer, wider gear bands, wider ratios with the 17 tooth front sprocket. Like they should have shipped it that way, but they didn't. So I would say go ahead, if you're buying this thing, go ahead and order that sprocket and have it ready when the bike comes in. That's the first thing we did to it. Now, we were prepared for the bike to not be very good. Like I said, you watch YouTube videos and you start to think, well, it's going to fall apart and it's not going to run right and all that kind of stuff. And so we have already purchased the VM22 carburetor kit for it. We're going to put that on. We've already purchased the Pro Taper bars for it, new grips, that kind of stuff. But let me tell you where we are on this thing. It actually runs really well. And so, I can show you a video. I was out riding it today, easily riding around 45, 50 miles an hour. So we're talking stock carb, everything's stock basically except for that sprocket. And so I would say that, again, what we received here is a pretty legit motorcycle. At the beginning, I was like saying to people, yeah, man, I bought a Chinese motorcycle, kind of like being prepared for it not to be that great. And then now I'm just like, yeah, I got a motorcycle. I haven't jumped into like tearing it apart and taking the air box out and everything you're gonna have to do when you do the carb. I'm just not quite ready to tear it apart. So basically we're at 2 weeks, 80 miles. It starts, it shifts. Neutral is easy to find. It's just a pretty decent little motorcycle. It loves to go 30, 35 around in the city. It can go 45, 50 stock really easy. So I haven't been in a hurry to, like I said, start putting aftermarket parts on it. I kind of want to see how the bike operates in its stock form for the first 100 miles or so. So we're at 80 miles right now, and we will go another 20 miles or so and then start thinking about putting the aftermarket parts on it. But so I kind of wanted to see what was the stock experience of having one of these things from Baodiao Motors, Baodiao Locomotive Limited, I think it's called, in outside of Shanghai. And so I gotta say, they make a pretty decent product. Been riding it for a little bit here. It performs well. It came well assembled. I haven't found loose parts on it. The fairings are tight. Everything's tight. Everything worked. It passed inspection. I got it 5 days after we received it. I got it licensed, registered, and inspected. And so the one thing I did do, I did have one little mishap where I dropped it the other day on this side, and it kind of curled the stock lever. And so I'll show you these real quick. These are horribly cheap. These are the stock levers that were on it. Look at those. I kind of bent. This is the one I bent. I bent it back, but yeah, you don't need that stuff. I mean, this is $35. Got these, what are they? MZS. I did a little video on this. I've got video changing them out. So that's one of the things I did, was put these adjustable levers on, and I love them. They feel great. They're shorter. They're adjustable. You put them right where you want them. And yeah, so that was the result of kind of dropping the bike over on the right side and accidentally bending that stock lever. But I'm glad I have these. They work great. A couple of other things I'll just tell you about the bike. If you decide to get one of these from Red Fox or Amazon, wherever you get it, the cluster, the instrument cluster indicators up here, basically what I found is that everything works as far as telling me. It's really nice. It tells you fuel level, your indicators, if your blinkers are on, if you're in neutral, what gear you're in, and all that works perfectly. What doesn't work well is the speedometer. It's way off. And so basically I use a GPS speedometer all the time. So I'm not really looking at speedometer, but basically to figure out what my miles are, I have to take what I see on here, multiply it by 1.6 to know how many miles the bike's gone. So that's my kind of the one thing, and we couldn't fix it. It appears that with these newer versions of this product that you can't get into a programming mode using these buttons. We tried it and it just didn't work. And so basically, look, that's my only complaint. The speedometer doesn't work, but I don't use the speedometer. But everything else works great. All this stuff works well. It's cheap, but it works well. Yeah, you see some weird things like you probably wouldn't see this on a Honda, like these wires, and the connectors are right under this little rubber boots, and so it's just that stuff's cheaper, but brakes work. Everything works really well, and so we've just really enjoyed it so far. I think the other thing I would tell you guys about, a little bit of a warning, is oil changes are hard to do because the drain plug is blocked by the exhaust. Can't quite get it out. I did get it out. I got it back in. Felt really lucky to get it back in. I saw in the manual you could change it from here. And when you pull this out, and I've got video on this, but a spring comes out, this little plunger-like thing. It's not a filter on this motor. But the problem I had there is only 200 milliliters of the oil drained from this side. There's 850 to 900 milliliters of oil in there. So you can't really use this side that's easily accessed, even though it has the spring that shoots out, and you got to be careful about that. You can deal with that, but it just doesn't drain the crankcase. This is the one that drains the crankcase, and it's blocked by the pipe. So there's something that needs to be done to make that easier. You want to change your oil frequently, and so that's kind of a hassle. But that's something I'm figuring out right now. But basically, guys, we've just really enjoyed it so far. And I think kind of surprised that you can get a great value like this on a bike that actually rides nice and is fun and seems to be pretty reliable. All right, so looks like my device is getting hot. That's what I'm being told. Shooting video in Texas. But anyway, so guys, I'll wrap it up here. We'll talk more about the bike. We'll do some more videos on it. I got a lot of videos of me riding it and stuff like that, but you've seen stuff like that. Just wanted to tell you about it, help you make decisions if you're thinking about buying one. Take care.